Welcome to the art gallery. I wanted to talk to you about Don Quixote and the fist. Now, there's a couple of things that are important here. This is in the art gallery at the Wizard Academy. When you visit, if you come in the art gallery entrance, it's in the very middle of the room. It can't be missed. One of them is, I've talked about this before, but Quixote sort of represents the adventuring entrepreneur spirit that you find at Wizard Academy. And in this sculpture, which by the way, is it can either represent him in the hand of fate or in the hand of the windmill being lifted up, and he seems triumphant here, in spite of the fact that he's totally in the grasp of fate. If you remember the story, the original is that he comes upon the windmill with Sancho Panza, and he has a lance, and he says, "Come, let us fight these dragons." And this is a synopsis, not a direct quote. And Sancho Panza says some version of, "But these are windmills, not dragons." And he says, "Obviously you know very little of this adventuring." Well, that's very much the spirit at Wizard Academy. We're all on an adventure, and people who don't understand that it's an adventure, they don't understand adventuring. Now, in the story, he charges the windmill, he crashes into it, the windmill lifts him up, dashes him to the ground, and that's essentially the beginning of the story. Now, there are two things that happened here, and they represent something that I think is really important for Wizard Academy. Very often when you come out here, you see this 10 acres fully sidewalked out and buildings completed and statues in the woods, and people ask, how did you build this whole vision? How did you think of so many intricate things and the decorations inside? What kind of mind thought of every one of these things? And the answer is that we didn't plan all of these things. We planned a campus, and then we planned the chapel, and then we said, let's build the tower, and then we built the tower, and then we said we need somewhere for people to sleep, and we built Engelbrecht. Every single thing that has been done out here has been done as a progression of ideas. The next thing that seemed like the right thing to do. Now that can only happen if you have a truly strong culture inside of an organization. And for us, that culture of spirit originated with Roy Williams and Penny Williams, and it was continued in design by Marley Porter, and then carried on in spirit by the students. And what happens is, if you have a really strong internal markers of here's our true north, here's the things that we are willing to sacrifice, here's what we stand for, here's our character diamond, for those of you who know Wizard Academy, it makes every decision consistent with every other decision. And when you do that, by the time you get from step 1 to step 10, it looks like what happened at step 10 was the plan all along. It was never the plan all along. It was just culturally consistent with your values. And so you can't have that happen if you don't understand your culture. Now, one of the examples of that is when you walk in here, this room is actually got a dome over it, and this statue was placed in the middle of the room, and there was a light hanging in the middle of the room designed originally. Now, we needed something to put the statue on, and so we found this platform at an auction, this wooden platform. And then we just bought a generic piece of glass, and we set the statue in the middle of it, and then we flipped the lights on. And lo and behold, completely by accident, when we turned the lights on and looked back at the statue, we realized the shadow of this platform and this statue created a windmill. Now, what you can see is actually the windmill on the floor as it wraps around, and it becomes the shadow of Don Quixote on the floor in the middle of the room. Completely by accident. So not only do you see Quixote and the hand of fate, but the shadow of the hand of fate is a windmill on the floor. That's the kind of serendipitous, magical thing that happens when you act consistently inside your values and your culture. I hope that you're able to find those. We exist to help you get there, and I hope to see you soon. Until then, may your crazy stay this side of legal, and may you return before we have time to miss you.